Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army, an army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time. Now, before we get into the topic of today's video, I have to bring something to your attention that needs to be brought to your attention in every single video I put out, basically. And that is the existence of Quarter, which is an open source alt-tech alternative to YouTube that I created and founded with the help of one of my tech friends seeking the truth. It's a very YouTube-like site as far as user interface and features go. It's got pretty much anything you'd ever want in a video sharing site. We've got full HD uploads and live streaming and free restreaming, public playlists, easy to use comment moderation system, and insight currency that allows you to promote your videos and channel without us having to take any kind of editorial position when it comes to promoting people on Quarter. It's a wonderful site. It's got a lot going for it as far as a product goes, and all it really needs now is some more users. So if you want to help maintain freedom of speech on the internet in terms of video format, I would encourage you to create an account on Quarter, and if you're a creator, start uploading your videos to Quarter today. And now that we have that out of the way, let's look at this InfoWars article that I recently came across. As you can see on the screen, the article is titled, "Hush Your Mouth. School Board Silences Dad Calling Out Pornographic Book Available at School Library." And no, that is not clickbait at all. This is a real story, as you're about to see here. We'll just read the article. There's some videos that are embedded in the article that prove that the quotations really were said. But I'm just going to read the quotations because, well, that's about all I can handle. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. The article says, "A Florida school board muzzled a concerned father who was attempting to call out pornographic library material during a meeting with a school board member telling him to hush his mouth. Tonight, I'm going to give a sampling from the 3 books that are in our library," the dad, identified as Bruce Friedman, announced. Then you can discuss the process by which these books get onto the shelves. 'Cause there's a Clay County employee that got paid to put this book, Lucky, by Alice Sebold. "I'm going to read things. If there's children watching, cover their ears," the dad cautioned as he proceeded to read. As soon as Friedman started reading, his mic was abruptly turned off, and a school board member told him, "I'm going to stop you right there, sir. I'm going to stop you right there." "Turn off his microphone," the board member directed as the dad asked, "Why?" "I've told you I'm stopping you," the board member told him. "The reason I'm stopping you is because these meetings," the member said as the dad interrupted him. "If you'll hush your mouth for a minute and listen instead of just talking, you'll learn something," the man who was somewhere off camera told Friedman. "The problem, sir, is that these meetings are broadcast. There are people with whom are watching it on YouTube. There are people that are watching it on community television," he said, as Friedman again tried to speak up. "Are you going to listen, or are you going to run your mouth?" the school board member again scolded Friedman. The dad was then told he'd have his mic turned back on if he chose to talk about something besides reading pornography into a public television set. The board member proceeded to claim the dad could potentially violate state or federal laws by reading the material. Doesn't that kind of prove the dad's point, though? You have books in your children's school library that are basically porn material that's being marketed to these kids, and you're saying it's so disgusting and evil and illegal that you can't allow him to read it in front of you on a televised school board meeting. But somehow this book is allowed to be in the school library for children to read. The cognitive dissonance on display by this Florida school board is incredible. It's over 9,000.
It's over 9,000!
What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right! Cut it!
Here's the vulgar, extremely graphic excerpt from Lucky the father was censored from exposing. "He began to knead his fist against the opening of my," well, you can read that for yourself, "inserted his fingers into it 3 or 4 at a time. Something tore. I began to bleed there. I was wet now. It made him excited. He was intrigued. As he worked his whole fist up into my," you can read that, "and pumped it," and that's part you got cut off at. Speaking to News4JX after the incident went viral, Friedman, who's part of a group titled No Left Turn in Education, said the seedy material was part of the left's agenda to sexualize children. They are trying to sexualize and normalize deviant behavior, Friedman said. Sexualizing our children is grooming. It is not acceptable. It is illegal. Lawyer wasn't concerned about that. He was concerned if I read some bad words. And ain't that the truth? That's the irony of this whole thing. It's illegal to have this kind of material in school libraries where children can have access to it, and yet this guy, this lawyer, this school board is condemning this father for pointing out that the school is carrying this material in their school library. You're kind of proving the guy's point when you point out that it's illegal for him to expose children to that kind of material, and yet your school exposes children to that kind of material every day by having 3 such books in this particular school's library. So who's violating some laws here? Who's really grooming children? Who's really engaging in illegal activities? Who's really doing that? The school board that allows these books to be in their school's library, or the father exposing it? Clay County School Board member Janice Karekis said the district has a process in place to report unseemly library books and accused Friedman of spreading misinformation. What? What? The dude literally just grabbed the book from your library and started reading it to you. How's that misinformation? We have a process in place that when something is brought to our attention, if it's a book in the media center, it will immediately be removed and reviewed, Kirkies told News4JX. And on the review committee, there is 6 different people on the committee. We just set a policy last meeting to address that. Here is the full school board meeting, with the pertinent part happening around 30 minutes, 38 seconds. And the video is still there embedded, but because it's a YouTube video, that could get taken down at any time. You never know. But that's right, ladies and gentlemen. A school board in Florida literally silenced a dad for calling out the fact that the school has these pornographic books that are actually against the law to expose children to. They have these books in their school, and yet they censored him for daring to point this out. The great irony, of course, is that their explanation for why they're silencing him only proves why he was bringing this up in the first place. The material that these fine school board members have allowed to be distributed to students through the school library is literally illegal content. You're not allowed to read that material to children. It would actually violate local and federal and state laws, and yet this school board is allowing such material to be distributed to students willy-nilly via checkout in their school library. And yet when someone dares to point this out to them, you're the horrible person for bringing this to our attention live on YouTube for the whole world to see. The grooming in schools these days is only getting worse, and as we move closer and closer to the end times and the New World Order and the beast system going online and the eventual return of Jesus, things are only going to get much worse than this. Much worse. But you can look back on incidents like this and you can say, told you it was coming. Told you it was coming.